A lot of the people who come with their dogs need to be able to tell their story, and you have to be able to listen to their story because every single dog and person is a little bit different.
My story began when I stumbled upon this puppy who I ended up rescuing. He was crazy, wild, essentially earning himself the name Turbo. I decided to talk to a trainer. One of the things that he really put a heavy focus on was that if I didn't start working with him in a way where I showed him that I was the leader or that I was the boss, for the rest of his life, he would have kind of issues with anxiety. He would try to be dominant. Something that he talked to me about was using a choke chain. I gave a nice yank back on the leash, and that was really a moment that changed me because he cowered and he put his ears back and he looked up at me. And for the first time in my life, I saw fear. I changed everything in that moment because I decided that I would rather have a dog who misbehaved than have one that was scared of me. And I thought to myself, there has to be a better way.
Many of us think about behavior as something that we just want to stop. You can't stop behavior if it has an emotion behind it that's driving it. That emotion has to be addressed.
I very quickly realized that if we wanted to change behavior, we wanted to teach an animal to do something or motivate them, we had to build trust, we had to build connection, and they had to understand what we were asking of them.
There's a lot of things that we know now that cause animals actually to have problems that are much harder for us to fix if we end up using punishment-based training.
So positive reinforcement training is essentially teaching the dog what you want them to do instead of punishing them for what you don't want them to do.
When I first met Caitlin, I went to go visit one of her classes. She had seen dogs in the shelter. She had worked through behavior issues. She knew about how to work with them and without punishment.
She was the first person that I had met who was as passionate and excited about spreading this education and teaching people how to communicate with their dogs.
And at that point, I knew we were connected. She brought up the idea of, let's do the business together.
We kind of went on a mission at that point to help as many people and as many dogs as possible. A lot of these people that were working with their dogs or were opting for punishment-based training were doing so just because of lack of education.
At that time, to say you were a positive reinforcement trainer was not a benefit to you as a company.
Over the last 8 years, things have really turned around. Now the phone calls that we get are much different. The first thing they ask is, what kind of training do you use? And we say, positive reinforcement. Well, do you ever use punishment? What kinds of tools do you use? Will you ever hurt my dog? And so the conversations have really shifted. And every time we get a call where people are really interviewing and digging and diving in, we love it.
The rebranding, coming out with another logo, I think more reflects the way that the community has changed and how they now perceive training. They see that it works.
We have this amazing, wonderful team of trainers who all work together, who are very compassionate and caring and believe in kind of the same guiding principles.
So many people get into training thinking they're going to train dogs, but you really are training people at least half of the time because it is a team. Training is like a common language where they start to understand that you're trying to communicate something to them.
Do you wave hello? Turbo ended up being the happiest, most well-adjusted, motivated dog. We had fun in training his entire life. I'm endlessly grateful to Turbo and all of the lessons that he taught me and the inspiration that he gave me to start training and start going on this path to helping people have with their dogs what I had with him.